Welcome to Rick Fry in Real Time. And I am Rick Fry. I am delighted to have somebody I never expected to get to interview today. His name is Roy Joy, and Roy is from India. Welcome, Roy.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm very, very glad to be a part of this program.
Yes. I haven't seen you in how many years? 5 years?
Yes.
It's been 5 years since I saw you last at a marriage conference in Oklahoma City.
Right.
You and your wife attended that.
Right.
Yep. Tell us about what you do in India.
Hey, I'm so glad to be here. My name is Roy Mundakal Joy. I'm so privileged to be a part of this discussion today. In India, we do a lot of different types of ministries. My passion is to reach India for Christ.
Wow.
India is 79% Hindus, 15% Muslims, and maybe less than 5% Christians.
What's the entire population of India?
1.3 billion people.
1.3 billion with a B.
Yeah.
Wow.
The city that I am having 25 million people. Mumbai city.
Mumbai?
Yes.
Mumbai city. And how long have you been there?
It is my 20th year now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What part of India were you born in?
I'm actually from the southern part of India called Kerala. We have more Christians in that part, so I had the burden to reach the unreached people. So that is one of the reasons I moved to Mumbai.
India being you said 79% Hindu, how did you hear the message of Christ?
Yeah, I am from a Catholic family. I lived a very licentious life. I'm from a background, we do a lot of notorious things like selling country-made liquor, beating up people. Our family friends are all the gang people in our region. Mm-hmm. So, and I was having criminal case against me by the time I was 17 for breaking up restaurants and things like that. But I failed in all the subjects in my 12th grade, and that did not change anything about my life. I kept on doing the same kind of lifestyle. But when I was met with the accident, when I broke my leg, when a bus almost ran over my leg, did not, but that put a fear in my heart that God is punishing me for all the bad thing that I'm doing. So while I was on the hospital bed, being a good Catholic, I made this decision, I will change my life. I will live a good life from then on. So from then on, I started living a very holy life, stopped all the bad stuff. But when I came out of the hospital, everything started again. So it is, but the fear was there. If I keep on doing the same thing, something is going to happen. And so I tried my level best to change, whatever I learned in the Catholic Church, like beating up myself, starving myself, whatever I can do to change my life, I tried. Mm-hmm. I may be good for 1 day, 2 days. Again, I go back to the same thing. Again, I try hard. I punish myself, try hard, go up. Again, I fall back. Finally, I came to realize I may not be able to ever make it to God by doing good. So I said, Lord, I don't know if I can ever be good enough to come closer to you. It is at that time somebody from Campus Crusade for Christ came to our place, invited me for a youth camp. Now, I said, we don't go for Protestant people's meeting. They said, no, we have all the people, students from different colleges, girls and boys are coming. Being a teenager, it makes a lot of sense to go where the girls are coming.
The girls are, yes.
So I went there and for the fun of it, and the first day, the speaker was saying, Jesus said, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hear my voice, open the door, I will come in." So now, the phrase anyone was attractive
Yes.
because I was living a very notorious life.
Yes.
Jesus can't take me, I know for sure. But Jesus here is saying he will take anyone. That means I'm included. So the speaker said, even if you're a bad guy, Jesus will still come because he paid for it. So he said, your life is in your hand. You hand it over to him, he will come. I said, there is nothing much to lose.
Might as well try this.
Education is lost. Accident broke my leg, so army and police is out.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I will give it to Jesus. So in 91, October 17, maybe after 5 p.m., I said, Lord, be my Lord and Savior. I gave my life to him. That was the complete transforming experience. My heart was filled with the joy I never knew before. Lying that night on the bunker bed, I was telling myself, to get this joy, you did all the nonsense. This is what you were searching all your life. Mm-hmm. You failed in your exam. You messed up your life searching for this joy. Here it is. The next day onwards, I started talking about Jesus to others. The first guy that I said...
The next morning?
No, this is a campus crusade youth camp.
Oh, okay.
Immediately after sharing the gospel, they start training you how to share gospel.
Okay.
So that night they had one session. The next day they had some session. The afternoon they send us out to share gospel.
Okay.
The first guy that I spoke is, I told him, I wanted to tell you about the joy I have in my heart. Man, that is the best presentation.
Yeah.
Knowing the joy and sharing the joy. Yeah, it changed my life. I did my 12th. I passed. Then I came up with this decision, I will not take my dinner if I don't share gospel with one person. I'm not keeping that. That's one of the reasons I put on weight. So in my story, there is one of the interesting thing is, we started a ministry in another college. In a Hindu college, we started a ministry. One of the guy came to the ministry and all. But there is one day I couldn't share gospel with anybody in college. Came home, I'm seeing my friends are playing soccer. I didn't go to play because I love my dinner more than soccer. So I went around and searching for somebody to share gospel. Then I saw this guy sitting alone, shared gospel with him. He received Christ. I did follow up with him. Then immediately after that, I left to get the training from Campus Crusade to become a staff with them. 2.5 years later, when I came home, this guy asked me, do you know what exactly happened that day? I said, tell me. He said, he misbehaved with a girl that day. And that girl's father complained to his father. He's maybe just 15-year-old. And his father beaten him up so hard. He felt so painful and ashamed. He wanted to commit suicide. And he was sitting in that place and thinking about how to commit suicide. That is when I shared gospel with him.
You had no idea.
I had no idea at that time. He didn't tell me at that time. He told me after 2.5 years.
Yes.
So that way I have hundreds of stories how gospel changed lives.
Yeah. And when did you come to America did you come to America to study the Bible school?
No.
Oh.
I did my degree in India. After that, Campus Crusade for Christ sent me
I misunderstood.
for my master degree in India. Mm-hmm. But actually right now I'm doing a master degree on education online in a Bible college in Canada.
Okay. So after you got through Bible school and got your master's degree, did you start another ministry or did you align with a church? What did you do next?
I continued with Campus Crusade, and then when I got married, they told me to go back to South India, that is Kerala. Mm-hmm. But I always had this burden for the less reached part of India, that is the northern part. Mm-hmm. So then I had to leave Campus Crusade. Then I worked with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association in My Hope India project, where we trained 2,000 pastors approximately, and some 20,000 Christian leaders from their churches on how to do evangelism. Many churches are planned because it is a big project from Billy Graham. Yeah, that is something that I'm passionate about. My passion is mobilize the church, equip the church, so that everyone in the church will go out and preach the gospel. That's the only way to reach India for Christ.
It's basically one-on-one is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's the way hearts are changed, one heart at a time.
Right.
Yeah. And so are you still doing that? Are you still training pastors?
Yes, that is one of my passion. In fact, I'm trusting God to train, do a theological training for pastors across North India. If the word pastor in India, in North India, and for you it may be different thing.
Yeah.
Also, let me explain the word pastor in North Indian context, in the village. So a pastor in the North Indian context, in the village, may be a first generation Christian himself. He must have never even attended a child Bible study. So most of them, at least 90% of them, received Christ, say they are 17, 18 or something. Then they had this transformation. The pastors must have noticed that. Then the pastor will ask him to go for a Bible training program. So that may be like 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, like that. So these guys doesn't have any basic. They're suddenly going in for some 6 month training. Then they come back when they're pastors. Now, they don't know much, but God still uses them.
Yes.
They have started, these people are starting churches. That is why I am passionate about training them further. When I worked with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, we did train the pastors. So we came to know what exactly going on in their life. And they need training. If you train them in the basics and they get those foundation clear, their productivity will multiply. So I have this passion about doing something to train these people. Now, they can't leave the village and go to a Bible college. It is too costly for them. They have their wife and children. They also have their ministry. So what I'm envisioning is bringing a training to near to their house, a town nearby them. They will come once, twice a month and attend this training and then go back home. And then the rest we will do online. So our vision is that they will be trained properly on evangelism and discipleship and all basic theologies like Christology, soteriology, theology proper. Now the reason why I wanted to do that, even though I said there is 79% of Hindus, only 15% of Muslims, but that is the third largest Muslim population in the world.
At 15%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is more than Saudi Arabia, more than Iran, Iraq or any other Muslim countries. First is Indonesia, second is Pakistan, third is India.
Wow.
Now, the advantage of preaching gospel to Muslims in India is India does not have the blasphemy law. You know what is blasphemy law is, if you are in Pakistan, you're preaching to a Muslim, you can't say Muhammad may be wrong. You cannot say that because then you're blasphemy. Then you can be put into prison. But they can't do that in India. So we have the freedom to preach the gospel, but there is hardly any ministry happening among Muslims in India because the pastors are not trained. So that is another big burden I have. Train the pastors in Muslim evangelism.
Personal note. How'd you meet your wife?
Oh yeah, it was in a campus crusade, South Asia conference. I was desperate, I was looking for a girl all over. And I don't know if you know, in India, it is not love marriage, it is arranged marriage.
Yeah.
So it is at that time I was in the Bible college too. So, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is holiday. I go to Kerala and then go to different houses, see the girls, the broker said, and have tea and snacks and then get back home. There are days that I saw 4 or 5 girls, but I don't like anybody. And then I thought I will marry anybody. And even then that was not working.
How old were you at this time?
I was 30.
30, okay.
And then in the South Asia Conference of Campus Crusade, I was so desperate. And something made me to really cry. I said, Lord, open my eyes, let me recognize my wife. The next day morning, one of the senior staff in campus school said, look, asked me, hey, have you noticed that girl? And Anu was standing there having tea with her friends. I was like, wow, where was she in all my life? And that's it. I just saw her 100 meters away or 50 meters away. I wrote in my diary, I found my wife. I didn't even talk to her or anything. And then I was behind all this other staff to make the formal arrangements for me to meet her. The formal arrangement is I go to the girl's house, see her, and talk to her, and the parents will see me. So I went there. The girl was there, and they let us speak for 5 minutes. If we wanted to talk anything personal, we almost spoke half an hour. And I gave her my phone number, but I never got any call back from her. The reason I later came to know her dad doesn't want me to marry her. So according to our culture, a good daughter will listen to the father.
Right.
So she said, okay, fine. She left me. But then God intervened. Her dad, God spoke to her dad. He agreed. And finally it all arranged. And after 2 years, after 1 year, we got married.
Wow. That's a great story. And were you friends with her father after that?
Oh, yeah.
He accepted you?
Yeah. He agreed even before the marriage.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now you have 2 daughters?
Yes.
One's 12?
And one is 17.
17. Where is she going to school somewhere?
Yeah, the 17-year is in 12th grade and the 12-year-old in 7th grade.
7th grade, yeah. Are they active in your ministry? Are they interested in that?
Oh, yeah. My younger one just recently gave all her savings to buy the toys for the children in the village, which she kept for her own some toys.
Yeah.
And then God miraculously provided what she wanted.
And the 17-year-old, what does she want to do when she gets out of high school?
My 17-year-old, she took baptism last year. She asked me for the baptism. We have this lady, her name is Nirmala. Her husband died of AIDS. And she also has AIDS. And she came to the Lord and she's growing into the Lord. And God is doing miracle in her health. And all her vitals are doing better. Mm-hmm. She's improving and she has seen how God is working. So she asked me for baptism. And when she's getting baptism, we were making all the arrangements. My elder daughter said she asked me for baptism. That was a joy. So both Nirmala and my daughter Ruth took baptism just 2 days before the Christmas last year.
What a great story. Tell us some of your experiences as you travel around India, and I would imagine you have hundreds of stories of how people have come to know Jesus through your ministry.
I don't know where to start. I have a lot. Just let me tell you some of the exciting stories.
Yes.
This boy, his name is Joshua. He's from a fundamental Baptist church. At the age of 17, he wanted to become a Muslim because he thought the one God, Allah, make more logical sense than the triune God of Christians. He had many questions to his elders. They couldn't answer. They did answer, but he didn't receive it. But it is at that time I started my ministry. I just shared gospel with him, 4 spiritual laws. He received Christ.
4 spiritual laws.
And then immediately his life changed. That is one of the reasons I preach gospel, because it has got supernatural power, not just the conviction of man. And this guy would walk 6 kilometers, come from his place to my place to study the Bible. He had Brahmin friends. Brahmins are the top in the religious ladder. And they are the most influential people in our country.
Brahma? B-R-A?
It is B-R-A-H-M-I-N.
Okay.
Brahmin.
Yeah.
So these people are the priest group. And Sudhir Mishra, his close friend, received Christ. His younger brother, Om Mishra, and his youngest, Amit Mishra, all of them received Christ. They are very intelligent people. And his cousins received Christ. And now a lot of them, I'm doing the Bible study for them these days. That is the power of the gospel. There was another time I was traveling from Kerala to Pune. I shared gospel with this young guy. in the train. He received Christ. 5 years later, I came to know this guy went and shared gospel with his mother. His mother received Christ, and they both are going to Believers Church.
Wow.
But there are in the middle of the darkest, the context in India, gospel is the silver light. Let me tell you about the girls in India. If you have one daughter, you're okay. But if you have the second daughter, you most probably abandon that girl because you don't want 2 daughters. It is too much, costly. You have to give dowry for her to get married. You need to protect, and it's of no use having a second daughter. So most of the time, the girls are abandoned or they will die when they are born. The grandmothers have some trick to get them die.
They're abandoned?
Abandoned in the railway stations, in the roadside. You will see the newborn babies lying. Someone will pick up or they will just die.
Oh, my goodness.
So there is, if you have more than 2 daughters, the third daughter, most probably your husband will divorce you. They will just leave you and go. This is the regular story, okay? This is regular. That's why in India, there's a rule you're not supposed to find out the sex of the baby, whether it's a male or a female. But they will still find it out. Or if then they find out when they are born, they will just abandon the baby. Now, in that kind of a place, we have this ministry. We train the pastors on doing children's ministry, how to share gospel with action. So this is the action we show. God loves, man sinned, Christ died, God forgives, we accept. So it is the whole gospel in a simple language.
Wow.
So we train them. And one of the pastors who was working with us in the village, in the interior village, very close to jungle, and he called me one day and said, one of the girls who was a part of the Sunday school children's program died. And I felt so sad. It was not a very serious sickness. It was just a diarrhea. But the baby died. She was 7-year-old. I felt a little depressed. Maybe 2 days after that, I asked her, did she actually receive Christ? Then he sent me a picture where she's showing that action, Christ died. And I asked him, did she actually receive Christ? He said, I gave them all a chance to pray with me to receive Christ. She's one of them who prayed to receive Christ.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she's so excited about the stories about the Bible. Why I'm saying this? Because in the middle of that depressing scene for a girl, that girl is in heaven.
Yes.
It is silver light. The gospel is the answer for our country.
Yes. Yes. You mentioned earlier while we were having lunch about the government kind of clamping down on Christian activities and churches. Tell us about what that looks like.
Yeah, in India we were always a minority. Anybody could have hit us anytime, and that was something common. We got used to it, lived with it for all our life. We are minority. Any of our programs can be attacked. Anybody who doesn't like us can create problem for us because we are always minority. But now we got a government that is hostile to Christians. And not they're just hostile, they don't like us. They have an agenda to stop us and persecute us. That is very dangerous, that phase we are going through. They have come to the second term. That is the first 5 years they did whatever they could to stop us. But God helped us. This is their second term. And they have cut all the provisions for the foreign fund to come to India. If you are a supporter of compassion ministry, all their fund to India is stopped. And many other big ministries fund is stopped. Campus Crusade for Christ is also facing issues now. So most of the Christian organizations funding from outside to India is stopped. That is with the big organization. And most of the smaller organization also will face CBI raid, like FBI here. We have CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation. And they are under a lot of pressure. And the smaller people will get beaten up. The pastors in the village get beaten up and get persecuted in many other ways. And the whole atmosphere of oppression is prevailing. But I'll tell you, one time when I was going to a place called Nagpur, I was kind of sure that I'm going to be arrested. So I told my wife, if I get arrested, think that I'm going to America for 2 months. Because the new rule on anti-conversions, it is a non-bailable offense. You will go inside the jail for 2 months. I told her, just think I'm going to US for 2 months. And I was showing my children the John Bunyan's animated story that John Bunyan is getting arrested and going and all. I said, it's not a big thing. Everybody get arrested and things like that. Now, my idea is that if I get arrested, I get free accommodation, free food, and arrested audience for 2 months.
So you can present the gospel while you're in prison.
Naturally,
Yeah.
I will not be in a separate cell or something. I'm not that dangerous guy.
Yeah.
I'll be with the group. I'll get a lot of crowd to share gospel. And I told you my background is rough and tough, so I will not have any much problem to adjust with them.
Yeah.
So I will share gospel. So free accommodation.
And they feed you. Yeah. You mentioned a while ago, and for Lori and me, we love The Chosen, and we can hardly wait for season 3 to start. And I have binged on season 1 and season 2 many times, and our staff meetings have showed them clips from this stuff. I just love the way it is, and you've just recently started watching that. Tell us what you think about The Chosen.
You know what? I think I like the director and the narration of story, because normally a TV serial is boring.
Boring.
You know? They will talk, and you just want them to finish talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go to commercial.
Yeah. So here, there is that suspense is there, that the speed is there, and the drama always going on. Like, for example, the first serial, that Mary's, how they build that story, and she's quoting that book of Isaiah, and then someone is calling her by name.
Yes, that was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
That was beautiful. Gosh, we've just really, and that, I'm not a crier, but I break down in tears every time. I break down in tears. That's how well done that series is.
Even for me.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't cry when my father died, but I cried when I saw this.
So, you're visiting America. Is there a purpose, or do you just? What was your purpose for coming to the United States?
Actually, most of the time when I come to US, I have some hidden agenda, and that is to raise fund for the ministry. This time I have this vision to start 4 centers for these pastors, for the theological training for the pastors. So I'm hoping that we will be able to start training for these pastors in these 4 villages, and my vision is to start all across North India. You know, these pastors are very poor. They can't travel from their village to the town, stay the whole day with us. So we need to arrange their travel. We need to arrange them to have a place to sit for the class. We need to arrange them a meal. And then we need to arrange a theologian to travel from a nearby city to their place and stay there and come back. And we need to give them some gift. So all this costs money.
Yeah.
And I believe this is very strategical. You must have already noticed I am very passionate about gospel. Now, I may be able to share gospel with 10 people a week or a month, but if I train 10 pastors, I'm getting 100 people to hear the gospel. So I wanted to multiply that. That is what my vision is.
And somebody wants to contribute. How do they do that?
I am connected with some ministries in Oklahoma, and your ministry is our friend. You know how to send support to us. You do that.
So they could send money to us that we can send to you. So,
Sure.
So oneness-ministries.org is our website, and if you will, I'll have my wife put a tab so that if somebody wants to contribute. And what's the name of your ministry?
Hope Ministries.
Hope Ministries. So if somebody wants to contribute to you, they can do it through us, and we'll send you the money. I'd love to do that.
You're already doing that.
We are?
Yeah, you are supporting our work here.
I knew that. So what's next? What are you going to do? You're going to go.
Yeah,
you're going to visit here for a while longer.
Yes, I will be going home on 21st November.
31st of November. So you're going to be here another month.
21st.
21st, yeah. So it'll be 3 more weeks. And are you going to visit? You going to stay in Oklahoma? Or are you going?
I will be going to San Antonio, and then I'll be visiting Campus Crusade for Christ head office. Then come back to Houston, and then to Pittsburgh, and then fly out from New York.
Wow, that's pretty busy.
Yeah,
that's pretty busy. Have you experienced anything on this visit that you want to tell your people when you get back home?
You know, one of the things that I always feel, I'm in the ministry for 29 years.
29 years.
Yeah, and I'm working in the most challenging place where you are a minority, where you are misunderstood, where you are looked down, where you are always under fear, and on top of that, you have all the spiritual warfare. And that long years in the ministry will make you tired.
Yes.
Whenever I come to US, I get encouraged.
You get to rest?
Yeah. I feel very, very encouraged.
Oh, encouraged, okay.
I feel appreciated, I feel loud, I feel my morale is boosted. So it's very good to come to
So it's energizing.
Yes, it is energizing.
Yes, wow. What message would you give to American Christians?
I believe America is a post-Christian culture. Ours is a pre-Christian culture. I have been touched by the gospel, and it transformed me, and it is transforming thousands of people in India. People are hungry for gospel. Harvest is so plenty. If only you would really sow the seed, if only you would just go and give them the gospel, millions will turn to Christ. And so whatever you can to do, reach India for Christ, this is the good time.
This is the good time. So contribute to this ministry.
Yeah, pray for us.
And pray.
That is, praying is more important because we get tired. Yeah, it's so much spiritual warfare. Pray for us. And, as I'm starting this Bible college, I need a lot of help with the materials and ideas and people who can teach, because we might do some online sessions. If we can teach and some courses, please come around and do some volunteer to teach some courses. It should be simple, not very deep theology. And we will get a translator to translate in our language.
Do you write much of your material?
I have done my master's, and I have those materials, and I simplify that and put it for our pastors.
So you've written it in book form so that you can pass it out?
No, we like a course wise.
Okay.
For example, soteriology, it's like 5-6 pages. That's what I said. It's in a very, very simple form.
Okay. I am so delighted to have gotten this chance to have this discussion with you. You're a hero. You're a man who lives in the trenches. You're a man who is truly living the gospel, because you have to. You have to trust God where you are. And I admire that. And, I get to live in Oklahoma, in the middle of the country, and to do this ministry, I have to trust God for that. But it's not like where you are, where there's spiritual warfare. We have our people who are not supportive of what we're doing, and that's okay. That's not my problem. That's God's problem. But I just admire the fact that you are doing a really, really hard job in a really, really hard place.
Just let me tell you one thing, because when you made that statement, it really triggered, why I'm excited about the gospel. I've been invited to speak in a village in Amanagar. I had to travel some 7 hours on the road in 2 buses. I reached this place. I have this problem. I love watching movies. And because of that, we didn't have a TV at home because I spent a lot of time on it. And then when I went there, I had to take a room in a hotel because I had to stay that night there. When I went, I saw the TV and turned it on. I saw that my favorite movie is going to come at 9 o'clock in the night. Now, I forgot about all the preaching. 7 p.m. is the preaching. I just wanted to go finish that preaching somehow, come back and watch my favorite movie. Now, I felt very bad. What kind of a preacher are you? You're thinking about a movie when you're supposed to preach the gospel. So I was trying to convert myself, being a good preacher, being committed and all, but I couldn't. And then I got this call from the pastor who is organizing the meeting. You can start. There is something called sharing rickshaw. It's a 3-wheel vehicle, and you share with other people. So I took one, and I was on the way. I was trying to beat up myself to become a good pastor, a good preacher. I said, don't do that. Don't think like that. You have to preach. I can't. The more I wanted to watch. Anyway, the struggle was going on and on and on. And I couldn't change myself. I somehow wanted to come and watch the movie. Forget about preaching. Just preach it, finish it off, come back. Yeah. So while I was sitting there, they were singing some song before my preaching. And I felt so bad. I said, Lord, what a guy I am. I'm so bad. I can't be a good preacher. Then Jesus said, you were worse than this when you came to me first. Come to me just like the way you came to me at first. So all what I did was, Lord, I am coming to you just the way that I came to you first. You changed me. And that's it. Everything changed. I experienced His presence. And I was completely different. And that day, I stood up and made the first example of why Christianity is different from all the other religion. Because God just did that. I told them, every religion will tell a sheep that fell inside the pit, broke the leg. Every religion will tell you how to come out. Mm-hmm. But Jesus will not do that. He will climb down to the pit, carry you on the shoulder, and climb out.
Amen.
Because
Amen.
He just did that to me at that time. Mm-hmm. I'm just experiencing it. I'm preaching it by sitting on His shoulder.
Wow, that is a great story. Thank you, Roy. And thank you guys for listening. It'll come out probably next week. So I'll let you know, Roy, so you can, if you want to listen to it, you can.
Thank you.
You did a great job.